Best and his Irish teammates are back for tonight's must-win Inter-Pro. Victory is crucial if Ulster are to have any chance of making the playoffs. They welcome this season's surprise league leaders to Belfast. Connacht are on a winning streak, with Leinster the latest team to fall. The pressure is on Les Kiss's Ulster side with just 4 games left to save their season. It's Ulster Rugby Live from the Kingspan Stadium. Good evening. Well, it has been a wild, wet and windy afternoon in Belfast. Thankfully, the rain has subsided for round 19 of the Guinness Pro 12. Stephen Ferris and Paddy Wallace are with us this evening. Stephen, with 4 games left, how much trouble are Ulster in?
You just said it there at the top of the show, the pressure is on. I think everybody's got to understand where Ulster have been the last 10, 11 games. We've won 6, we've lost 5, a couple of point win at home to Dragons, a couple of point win at home to Glasgow, beaten Zebra, Treviso, the worst teams in the league. We're not performing well. We have to turn it around tonight, and hopefully they can do that.
They need to finish top 4 for the playoffs, top 6 to guarantee automatic European qualification for next season. What are the realistic expectations, Paddy?
I know, as Stephen says, a couple of months ago you would never expected Ulster to be in this position fighting for a European spot. They have to take one game at a time. Tonight is a massive, massive game. It's a cup final, as Andrew Trimble said during the week, against a very good Connacht side, a different Connacht side than the fans would have been used to coming up here. A complete culture change. They will not fear Ulster coming up here. They had a great win against Leinster. So it's going to be a very, very competitive match.
No team really fears coming here anymore, and the old Fortress Ravenhill is gone, and that needs to change, and it has to start here tonight. Rory Best is back, Andrew Trimble is back, Jared Payne is back, a lot of leadership there, and they got to go out and put a marker down and get this crowd right behind them.
Yeah, Ulster have lost 3 of their last 4 games. What do you see? Where do you see improvement needed tonight against a Connacht team who are unbeaten in 6?
We just need to be clinical. We play a lot of rugby. We go from side to side a lot. For me, we're quite predictable in attack. But when we were in the green zone, we need to score points. We need to score tries. We need to put teams away. And me and you have sat plenty of times, Stephen, at half-time in a game when we're 7-10 points down and said, geez, can we get back? And we need to get our noses in front. And when that happens, we usually go pretty well.
Do you expect Ulster to come out fighting
Absolutely,
this week, Paddy?
Yes, I think so. I think, as Stephen says, the trio of Best, Trimble and Payne coming back will add that leadership, but also a biting defence that has been missing. Teams are scoring too many tries too easily against us. That will be unacceptable from the likes of Rory Best, and his leadership will show through, I think, tonight, and make sure that everybody's fighting for the jersey and to keep their season alive at this stage.
Team talk from the captain, Rory Best. Connacht have not won in Belfast since 1960, but records are there to be broken.
They are there to be broken, but I believe this team can beat Connacht. This team on paper is better than Connacht. They don't have a great record up here. I think they'll go home with their tail between their legs. OK,
Stephen, Paddy, thanks very much. Missing from our commentary box tonight is Jim Neely. Get well soon, Jim. Replacing him at short notice is Michael McNamee, and he's joined by Ryan Constable.
Good evening. John Muldoon plays his 209th league game for Connacht. The team are flying high after 6 victories in a row. 7 changes, though. They're injury hit. They include the Ulster-bound Rodney Ayew coming in at tight head, replacing Irish international Nathan White. Academy player James Connolly is included in a slightly rejigged back row. Big problems at half-back. 3 out-halves injured, so Shane O'Leary makes his first league start alongside John Cooney, who's in for Kieran Marmion at scrum-half. Ireland centre Robbie Henshaw starts at full-back. November 1960, the last time Ulster lost at home to Connacht. The #1 hit of the day was "It's now or never," which is a very, very handy motto for Ulster this evening if they want to nail on that top 4 place. Rory Best is back, and he leads out the team on a very important home game. The last thing the Ulster fans will want to be is all shook up, or possibly even left crying in the chapel. 5 changes. They welcome back their Six Nations trio, including Best at hooker. Number 8, Roger Wilson, comes in for Nick Williams, who was injured during that defeat in Glasgow. Ian Henderson plays at the Kingspan Stadium for the first time since his terrible injury in December. Andrew Trimble and Jared Payne, the returning international backs. Payne plays at fullback, so he's directly opposite his Ireland centre partner Robbie Henshaw. And unlike Connacht, Ulster have experience at half-back in Pienaar and Jackson. It's an all-Irish team of match officials. A referee this evening, hoping not to be in the centre of the replays, Dudley Phillips.
Ready, Captain? Time on, Brian.
If I'm a late call-up off the bench, we have the experience, safe hands. The sitting beside me of Ryan Constable. Ryan, good evening.
Evening, and really looking forward to seeing this Connacht team close up. The consistency of their performances this season has been astounding. Whenever they've needed someone to step up, they've stepped up. A real test for them tonight. First test for Robbie Henshaw, wearing 15 at full-back. We had a very heavy rain shower about an hour before kick-off. Slippery ball, slippery surface. Connacht with big question marks at half-back. Their 4th choice out-half, Shane O'Leary, playing this evening, and it's his first start in the league. And Cooney gets it out, and a first opportunity to put the Ulster back 3 under pressure. Jared Payne letting it bounce. Got it in the second opportunity. He's stopped by James Connolly, one of the academy players in this Connacht team. Jackson. Ulster initiative inside their own 22, but the pass to Andrew Trimble wasn't quite perfect. O'Leary's the man back. And support from Henshaw. Henshaw, one of Ireland's star players of the last couple of years. And this is O'Leary. No early nerves from him, and the ball's taken on by Connell. Cooney, O'Leary. That's the big second row out, Muldowney. And Ulster have the advantage now. Let's see what they can do. Jackson putting pressure on the captain Muldoon, who's the last man back inside the 22. And you don't see that too often from a back row forward. Oh, it's not bad at all, Ryan Constable. Yeah, decent little nudge. He'll be very happy with that. And Shane O'Leary, a couple of nice touches, always good when you thrust into a position like that. A couple of confident little kicks. We just see the turnover, dangerous ball, no one back, and the kick ensured. But a couple of nice confident touches, and Connacht looking to get into their rhythm very early on in this game.
We've talked about Fortress Kingspan. It hasn't been quite the case this season. Home defeats against Munster and the Scarlets. And Glasgow very tight on the Ulster tails in 5th and 6th place in the league. That's well driven on by Ulster. Ball set up for Pienaar. And this is Ulster working through the phases and making good ground. That's a well-taken ball by Stuart McCloskey. Around his knees. Quick for Jackson. Payne. Luke Marshall with ball in hand for the first time this evening. Back with Jackson. This is Ulster at pace. Inside the Connacht 22 for the first time. Jackson. Driven on by Henderson. That's a tricky one for Jackson to try and lift. Got it into the corner. And the Ulster fans show their appreciation for a little bit of initiative from Paddy Jackson.
The excellent pick up off the bootlaces and then assessing what was in front of him. That little grubber through, perfectly placed, and Connacht now under huge pressure on their own 5-metre line.
Hooker's the New Zealand-born Tom McCartney. Just about taken by Muldowney.
No advantage, clean catch, offside. Come through the line-up, forwards over.
And Ulster penalised in the line-out.
A technical infringement, but Ulster be wary given the double-digit penalty count against them last week. Sure, it would have been focus of their post-match review is not to give away those penalties, and particularly in these areas of the pitch, you go from putting Connacht under pressure to a penalty kick that allows them to relieve it, and they get the restart then, albeit in their own half, Captain, but in possession of the ball again.
When in possession, make sure we're not going beyond the ball, taking a player.
Dudley Phillips laying down the law early on.
that point.
McCartney finally gets out, goes to the back, and Connacht have possession. It's there for Cooney. It's McCartney, the hooker. Cooney looks both ways. Feeds Peter Robb. Made his full debut last week in the narrow win against Leinster. And at the minute, Connacht are holding on to the ball, but they're not finding any way forward inside their own half. And a roar of approval for referee Dudley Phillips' decision. And an early opportunity, perhaps, for Paddy Jackson.
That's what happens when you start a good defensive line speed and you catch that player behind. Their players joining the ruck quite often can't get around the back and come in through the gate. They've got to take a shortcut and come from the side, and that's what that defensive line speed brings.
With barely a breath of wind, Paddy Jackson. 137 points this season. And Ulster looking to put points on the board. And with barely a breath of wind, this would normally be a nailed-on 3 points. The hush descends around the Kingspan Stadium. Expectant home fans. Clean connection. Cool as you like. Ulster in the lead.
Yeah, really good conditions for rugby now. That surface water's dried up from the earlier rain and not any wind to speak of, so really good conditions. Both teams like to play with width, as the boys spoke about in studio beforehand. Need to ensure that they go forward first before they go wide.
That'll just settle any nerves or butterflies. And a Merva underneath it for Ulster. PR had Wilson at out half.
Winger.
And that's a chase for Craig Gilroy. Adeolucan underneath it. Ulster have scavenged that, but the original knock forward from a white jersey.
And very interesting to see Henshaw and Payne, midfield partners for Ireland, both playing in the 15 jerseys, and testament to their skill as rugby players that they're able to interchange between those two positions. And Henshaw coming forward for that one, but a little bit scrappy, and ultimately ended up in a scrum now. Attacking opportunity for Connacht.
Yes, with an Irish touring party coming up, there are games within games and contests within contests here. Another Irish derby tomorrow at the Aviva Stadium. Leinster-Munster.
Seconds in.
And the Connacht pack half a stone heavier. Buckley, McCartney and Ayew against Black, Best and Lutton. Front rows have dipped slightly, but Cooney gets it out to O'Leary. That's swept away by Bundyaki. There's Adeolucan, and an opportunity now for Connacht. That's taken on by Matt Healy. Very impressive winger, scoring a lot of tries this season. McEwen, the man of the match last week against Leinster, and that nail-biting victory. And Ulster offside.
Taking the space here, 7.
Chris Henry, the man penalised, and an opportunity for Connacht to level things almost immediately.
The excellent set-piece move from Connacht came from that scrum, right-hand side, and O'Leary again going through that passing motion to good effect. Managed to get on the outside, and we're just seeing the end here where the penalty arrives. Ball into contact, getting over it, and just taking the space past the ruck to try and block those players coming through to clean out.
Well, there's confidence. They're going for the kick to touch. It's Andrew Brown and Muldowney are the big men. Not clean possession for the men in green and blue. That's taken on by McEwen, the number 8. Ball is there for Cooney. Buckley. Popped up and driven on by Brown, but tremendous defensive tackling by Ulster, forcing Connacht back. O'Leary, Aki. It's all gone wrong for the visitors, and here goes Gilroy. Has he got the pace? He's just nearly half held and eventually thrown to the floor by O'Leary. Home fans encouraged now. The break is on. Marshall, McCloskey. Henshaw couldn't force him into touch. Marshall again. Henderson, a wild pass. This is Roger Wilson. Pienaar with a little chip. And for being under pressure inside their own half, Gilroy led the break, and suddenly a very good attacking opportunity for Ulster.
Yeah, deserting them, Connacht. What they've been very good at this season is maintaining possession in opposition territory. On that occasion, pass from Bundy Aki going around, that released Gilroy and had the composure to be able to recycle that ball, and just those missed little passes are what let that pressure off. It was Ulster guilty of it earlier on with a penalty in Connacht's 22, and on this occasion that missed pass just allowing Ulster to escape.
And that's why you want to wear a very skin-tight shirt, so there's nothing at all to grab onto.
Line out over.
Taken by Muldowney. Connacht
One stop.
staying on their feet inside their own 22.
Use it.
Cooney looking for the breakout now inside their own 22. Adeolukin's the man making himself available for Henshaw, but well tackled by Luke Marshall. Cooney maybe took a step too many and put the big man in real trouble, and he's been held, and Connacht concede the penalty.
Yeah, Connacht are more than happy to play with width in their own 22. They like to test opposition defences by dragging them left and right, but on this occasion, as they came back, they met two very willing Ulster defenders, and once they dominated that collision, that put them on the front foot, and players arriving were able to go past the ball and getting in a good position over the ball. That created the penalty opportunity.
Well, I don't think the 6'5" Andrew Brown enjoyed that. He was caught by his namesake Peter Brown and Roger Wilson. And an opportunity for Ulster to double their lead. And they've started well, Ryan.
Yeah, excellent, particularly in defence. Noticeable that line speed. Very lax defence last week against Glasgow, and certainly that seems to be a focus in the first 10 minutes. That defensive line speed and attacking those collisions has really been noticeable.
Again, silence descends. And the roar will tell you that Paddy Jackson has made a 2 from 2, and after 12.5 minutes, Ulster lead by 6 points to 0.
And you get those players returning from international duty and being absorbed back into the Ulster team. You want them to really lead from the front, not just return and ease back into it. And certainly that leadership role that all of those experienced internationals will bring to this Ulster team will be huge for them this evening.
6 wins out of 6, Connacht. Ulster 3 defeats and 4. Marshall with a kick, not his greatest, but he did find his touch. And of course, if we hadn't done already, we send Jim Neely our very best wishes. I'm sure he's listening, sitting with a pen and notebook. Not tidy ball for Connacht. Muldoon at the back, and Ulster tidy it up. Not enough precision from the visitors. Here come Ulster. Marshall. Payne. This is good. This is great. Excellent. Trimble. Pienaar. Memorable stuff from Ulster. Payne involved as well. Henderson's appealing out on this near side for the ball. Jackson. Calling up very quickly in defence. Driven on. And side entry from Ricky Lutton. And Ulster lose the momentum.
Just that accuracy lacking at the breakdown. And again, it's not coming through the gate, through that hindmost foot, moving forward, taking the shortcut there. Clever little option from Jared Payne. Deft array of kicks that he's got on Trimble. showing his experience and composure to keep that ball alive. Angles of running coming from those support players, but it's lacking that little bit of accuracy at key moments to keep the move alive.
New Zealand-born McCartney, a word with Dennis Buckley in his 5th season with Connacht.
Thank you.
That's too long. Beats Muldowney. Connacht having trouble in their own line out. And of the two sides, Ryan Constable, Connacht are making the more mistakes.
Yeah, and set piece has usually been an area of focus for them that's functioned particularly well, but having all sorts of problems at the line out tonight. And Chris Henry seeing the space in behind and kicking that one down and saying, have another one, Connacht. Shortened line out, they're calling them back in now, but need to make some adjustments in that line out to get them functioning. Such an important piece of primary possession, the line out, and just not functioning for whatever reason for Connacht.
Chris Henry showing a very delicate touch with the boot, even better than John Muldoon earlier on.
Back you go.
Important line out, that's better. Taken by Andrew Brown.
That was the green pull down. One stop.
So much of their opening 15 minutes has been played in the Connacht half. Cleared by Cooney. Trimble's underneath it. Thought about the quick take. Thought better of it. Gets the ball back from his captain, and Ireland captain Rory Best.
Last foot. Use it.
Pienaar lets the big man drive it forward another couple of metres. Dudley Phillips has had enough.
I spoke to you earlier about players coming and taking players off the ball. Okay, 6 has gone around the side. He's impeded somebody competing from 6.
Yes, so Dudley Phillips quite hot on this topic, is taking players off around the fringes, moving them past that and holding on to them. You need to make sure they're integral to that ruck and you clear them out, but don't continue to clear them out and take them out of their defensive line.
Referee setting his standards early on.
Yeah, so as you see Henderson coming through and just obstructing, didn't look like much in it on that occasion, but obviously looking to lay down a marker in that area.
A rare foray up towards the Ulster 22 from Connacht. Taken at the back by McKeown. O'Leary, that's Bundyaki. All action centre. McCartney, O'Leary. Henshaw's been a little bit isolated. Cooney, support from Connolly. 4 out on the narrow side. This is Healy. Henshaw. Anytime Robbie Henshaw gets the ball in attack, he's immediately snaffled. Ulster players well aware of the danger. Now, chance for Muldoon. Good challenge coming in from McCloskey. Ulster making an awful mess of Connacht's possession. They've stolen it back. Turnover ball. Best. Jared Payne looking for those empty acres behind the right winger. Only finds Henshaw. This is Adeoloka. O'Leary. Brown. Whipped out by Healy to Bundyaki. Aki thought about going around the outside, and McCloskey was having none of it. O'Leary, the Ulster defensive line up flat, catching Connacht in possession once more. Sloppy ball for Connacht. Ulster penalised again, and
Up the side. No.
when is Dudley Phillips going to run out of patience, Ryan Constable?
Up the side.
Well, fortunately for Ulster, it hasn't been on their own line, but you'd expect him to have a word, which it looks like he's doing now. Persistent penalties at the breakdown.
They've got to tidy up through the gate. Time out.
Simple message, and it may yet lead to Mr. Phillips reaching for a card.
And you can disagree potentially with the referee's interpretation if you like when you're on the pitch, but ultimately it's his interpretation you need to mould to ensure that you don't give away those penalties, and Ulster will need to bring that huddle in. It's an area where they're giving away possession, they're giving away cheap yards to Connacht. Fortunately for them, Connacht's line out hasn't functioned for them to be able to take advantage of that yet.
Here we come, Green. the throw. Hold it. In we come. Hold it. Hold it.
Now can McCartney find his man? That's Brown. O'Leary.
Tackle, 7 away.
O'Leary again. Aki. Peter Robb was at his shoulder, couldn't find him. Out for O'Leary. That was Muldowney in the middle of the pitch. Quick ball now for O'Leary. Healy's in on the line. That's well taken by the second row, Brown. Forward pass.
Yeah, some enterprising stuff by Connacht again, persisting with playing in that 15-metre channels one side to the other, and very slick hands. Unfortunately, that last pass just being overrun a fraction and not being able to get it in and out of the hands in a backward motion.
That was Connolly to his captain Muldoon. Noticeably forward. Half time in that Welsh derby. The Ospreys leading the Dragons, and Edinburgh taking an early lead against Zebre. Both those games kicked off at 7:05. Ulster's remaining games in a fortnight away to Zebre, and home to Leinster on the 30th, and away to the Ospreys on Saturday, the 7th of May. A solid Ulster scrummage. The feet of Wilson for Pienaar. Payne eventually does get the ball, but he dropped it first time.
There was a nice little set-up move in that midfield, and that actually created the space in that wider channel. A lot of activity in that midfield, and that just threw Payne around on the outside. Unfortunately, the pass just behind him. Otherwise, it was a clear 2-on-1 that they'd created in that left side of the pitch.
Let's go, Green. A little bit quicker.
Gerald Payne has had his injury problems, like so many in the Irish set up in the last while. Good to see him back. He had 15 on his back.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
No quarter asked or given between the big men in the front rows. McKeown pops it up for Cooney. Bundyaki keeps it alive for Cooney. I like to ship the ball at pace. Just about held by Connolly. Knock forward though. And the margins are very narrow for Connacht.
And what Connacht do so well is build pressure on opposition. They do that through taking the ball through multiple phases, but that's what's been missing from their game this evening, is just being able to go through multiple phases, apply pressure, stay in the opposition 22, and then not leave until they've gained any points. But just those number of errors again on their behalf in what are pretty good conditions, not letting them to apply that to eventually get the points.
Last scrum over there.
Running repairs for McCartney. Conditions are certainly better than they were here mid-afternoon and early evening. And so on McKeown, at the back of his head anyway. Steam rising like cattle on a winter's day. And the Connacht hooker has been patched up and is fit to continue.
And the scrums have been a pretty even contest till now. Basically been solid from both teams, offensive and defensively, and that's created a good platform for the 9 to be able to get the ball away. And we've seen a number of creative pre-called moves from the backs that have created some space. So interesting to see what strike move is employed on this occasion.
Callum Black. Try score here against Glasgow earlier in the season. Ulster scrum under real pressure here. Severe difficulty for the men in white. The ball is there, and Chris Henry tried to get possession. And that's an indication of the strength of that Connacht front row.
Come infield a little bit here.
An illustration of what happens when you don't have that stable platform. Ulster is set in an attacking alignment, and then all of a sudden you're struggling to pick it up. You're retreating, players are trying to get around, and it just turns messy. Wilson tries to roll it back as he's being held up, and now it ends up with a Connacht opportunity, perfect attack position.
Seconds in.
Is the most important thing just a victory this evening, Ryan?
Yeah, it is going to come down to fine margin there, and there will be bonus point calculations, you feel, come into that fourth place. But for both teams at this stage, it's about the win until they get in a position where they can really push for that extra.
Glasgow, of course, have got a game in hand, and they've a load of games coming up against the Italian sides. This is Adio Loken. Didn't quite work, but they still have possession. That's taken on by the captain, Muldoon. Inside the Ulster 22. Cooney, they switch it, they go the other way. It's taken on by Connolly. Robb is in there. And this is Connacht's most threatening period of the first half. And just as I say that,
Ball, please, ball down.
not releasing, and they give away the penalty.
That'll certainly be frustrating. Both teams of coaches that they're getting into these positions and then just can't put on any sustained pressure. Both teams getting into opposition 22 on a number of occasions. Ulster are the only ones that have left with any points courtesy of those two Paddy Jackson penalties.
And it's noticeable Connacht trying to get Robbie Henshaw involved at every opportunity.
Yeah, you want your big players in these big games you look to them to really be an inspiration and to take your team forward. And Henshaw, a very exciting prospect. We've seen it in the green of Ireland, and they're looking for him to produce that form in the green of Connacht.
Little word from Callum Black to Rory Best. Slightly behind McCloskey. Jackson.
Stay six. Good.
The chase is on. Healy's underneath it for Connacht. Missed it completely. Henshaw's there, tapped back, scrappy possession for O'Leary. And Connacht have been forced inside their own half. And good work by Ulster.
He's come through, he's perfectly legal.
Pienaar just going to have a word with Jackson, and he's going to go for the corner. A ripple of applause from the home fans. And they want a 7-pointer, Ryan Constable.
Yeah, spurning the opportunity, which was well within range. Ulster obviously looking for more than that, but they need to go through some phases. They'll go for some strike moves off this set piece, but if they don't get that initial break, then they need to maintain that pressure by taking that ball into contact, good body position, cleaning out and protecting that ball, and really applying some stress to this Connacht defence, which has performed particularly well all season.
Don't creep. Line out over.
Taken at the back by Van der Merwe. Well, you can hear what the home fans want. They want a 15-metre drive to the line. Not sure that's going to happen. Best has it in his hands. And they're making progress. Maybe they are going to reach the line. Maybe it's going to be a try for the captain. They're there, they're over, and they've got it!
Yeah, outstanding stuff. Ulster will be delighted with that setup. There's a throw to the back that went outside the 15. The line out was over, but composure, they kept their composure. They had a perfect setup. It stopped once, but they were able to regenerate the pace on the ball, and as the back started to join in, it was obvious that that was the outcome they were aiming for.
What a moment for Rory Best, the Ulster captain, to get his first try of the season.
14. Where was it, Nige?
The men in green were at 6s and 7s. McCloskey was in there. Best was there. Driving forward, driving forward. Brown and Van der Merwe in the thick of it. And Rory falls over the line. That's what the fans wanted, and the skipper's delivered. The other side of the pitch now for Jackson. Emphasise not a breath of wind this evening. Oh! Close but no cigar. 11-0 it is. Just over 10 minutes left in the first half.
And when you spurn the opportunity to kick for goal and you go for touch, you need to get the returns on that. And that composure that Ulster showed, they got a quality set up in place, and once they had that, it was always going to be difficult to stop. And that 11-point margin now showing some results for their endeavour.
Now, what have Connacht got? That's neat. That's very good from Marshall. Pienaar chases on for Gilroy. Wilson's there as well. Henshaw takes it brilliantly. Cooney finds O'Leary. Last man minding the shot was Pienaar. Look at that, wonderful. He has time to take aim. Doesn't find touch. Finds the dangerous Adeolokan. And he's broken through. There goes the winger. He's got support from Henshaw. Fine tackle coming in from Jackson. Now, could Connacht get something before half-time? Muldowney. Cooney. O'Leary. On by Peter Robb. Possession's there for the scrum half. O'Leary again. Rodney Ayew will be playing his rugby in the white of Ulster next season. Now, has he coughed up possession to his next season teammates? As he has. No advantage coming. And Ulster have possession.
Well, it's been high-octane stuff the first 30 minutes of this half, end-to-end, and lots of lateral play, lots of line breaks as well. And Nii Adeolokan responsible again for that one. Managed to find that hole and then put the hammer down. He certainly got some acceleration, those flashing white boots, and highly entertaining stuff. Ruan Pienaar showing the perfect catch over the shoulder, and there's not much of a chase line up there, and as he sees that space, isolates a couple of tight forwards, and he's away and unable to convert that line break into points for Connacht. But they'll certainly be disappointed to be down 11-0 after 30.
Terrific tackle coming in from Paddy Jackson. Look at that. Perfect.
You okay?
Textbook stuff.
Okay, get your wheel back. Time on, Brian. Knock on.
The three who rule, making notes and keeping a close eye.
Let's go, Green.
Ruan Pienaar.
A little bit quicker, Green. Come on, can we go? Can we go?
Certainly think he's maybe winning the battle of the scrum half. Slight difference in experience levels. Can Ulster shore up their scrummage?
Crouch.
Perspiration dripping off the two sets of front rows.
Set. Could you bind up, please?
Man on the far side, Dennis Buckley penalised for the binding.
Hold on.
Law break. Tom McCartney, the hooker. And Ulster relieve the siege a little bit.
The binding on that occasion, slipping the bind, is what the penalty's for, and Ulster will be delighted if they could add a second try in this first half to give them some impetus in the second half to go for those 4 tries and try and get a maximum return out of this game.
Captain. Open up. Both teams take a step. Now, in we go.
Dudley Phillips knows that this is a derby game. And he's been very definite in his decision so far. That's loose ball, but tidied by Lutton. Driven on by Black. And it's still there for Pienaar. Brown. Ulster penalised, not releasing.
Not releasing.
And it's Peter Brown, the man guilty.
Shouting up the road there.
O'Leary. He had substitute appearances and he has made a start in the European Challenge Cup for Connacht, but this is first start in the Pro 12. Spent a year with Grenoble, and of course Grenoble, Connacht's opponents next week in the quarter-finals of the European competition.
Just getting over that ball, John Muldoon, Connacht captain, gets in a great body position using all his experience, and difficult to move and penalty resulting.
Finds Brown. O'Leary. Bundyaki. Two Ulster tacklers, including McCloskey, on him. Muldoon.
Good.
Chris Henry being told to get away. That's knocked forward by Ayew. And Pienaar down the throat of Healy. Henshaw's caught. Scrappy possession. Muldoon's picked it up. And a brilliant tackle. And Connacht so very nearly in on the corner. And for the second time in the space of 4 minutes, Paddy Jackson makes a vital stop.
Once that ball gets touched, it becomes a lottery. Green players are all on side of Muldoon. A clever little piece of skill, tipping it on and then picking his time. Cooney coming from depth and Jared Payne just managing to get to him. Otherwise, that would have been a try against the run of play.
It was indeed Cooney coming through, and yes, Jared Payne doing enough to force the scrum half off the field of play.
The question always for Connacht, given the emotional high of that hard-fought victory against Leinster at home, 6-day turnaround, could they come with the same intensity to this away fixture? And certainly they've been trying, haven't been able to hit those heights, and Ulster have looked a bit more composed and a bit hungrier in defence.
Van der Merwe's the man down. Chance to clean the gum shield.
I'm setting it on your loose head.
And Franco van der Merwe, well, it's like an oak tree when he goes down. And it'll take an awful lot to prevent him continuing.
On you now.
Best finds his man.
One stop!
And the chase is on for Pienaar's kick. He's being targeted on that far side. Doesn't make a convincing fist of it. And Ulster have it. Just under 5 minutes left in the first half. Again, the tactic. Healy's underneath it. He deals with it better, but he throws a loose pass. And that's Trimble picking up the pieces for Ulster. Pienaar. That was a touch of the Ronan O'Gara's from a few years ago. Gilroy. Now that's a loose pass trying to find Payne. Ulster just losing their heads for a couple of moments. They do have possession. Wilson's dropped it. Connolly has won the ball for Connacht. Oh, it's like a proverbial bar of soap. So the referee, where do you go back? You go back to the original one. That was schoolboy stuff at times.
Yeah, calamitous.
Somebody switched the ball.
Yeah, it was certainly there was oohs and ahs from the crowd coming at every turn on that one. Just starting from this loose pass to no one, which Andrew Trimble seized upon, and that's what set Ulster on this latest foray. But then the handling errors came thick and fast after that. Just the end there, managing to hold on, but hadn't got any real advantage out of the original knock-on, and a good attacking platform. They've sent Nii Adeliokan, who's been the danger man, across to the left-hand side, leaving a very big blind side with no one on it as they get this attacking formation in place.
I think the only words of advice I ever remember my father telling me on the cricket pitch: watch the ball. Easily forgotten in the heat of battle. Can Connacht do something about that? 0 in the scoreline. Much better scrummage from Ulster. And they're penalised.
One. Straight, please.
Looks like a call from the assistant referee on this side. Not scrummaging straight, coming in the angle seems to be the reason for that penalty.
Black the guilty party.
Just as that comes out on the left-hand side and that angle starts to veer in, and getting some assistance from the sideline to give that adjudication.
How we miss Big Jim's front row expertise, Ryan. The two of us are whistling in the wind.
Okay. Thank you, Brian.
First opportunity for Shane O'Leary to put some points on the board. Qualifies for Canada through his mother and has played for their under-20s. Effectively Connacht's fourth choice out half. 3 points would certainly settle him. And he's at the post. And it bounces very favourably for Ulster. Poor Shane O'Leary still waiting to put Connacht on the scoreboard this evening, and that's a let-off for Ulster. But what can they do now with Henderson? Jackson.
Tacklers away!
Set up for Pinar once more. Jackson. Best the try score. Marshall's lost it. Handling errors aplenty in the last 5 minutes.
And all that rain that fell pre-match is obviously taking its toll. Conditions look pretty good now, but must be some surface water. The only thing you can really account for professional rugby players making that amount of errors with ball in hand. And Ulster looking to play from deep. A lot of rugby in their own half, trying to get those wingers up to create some space for kicking in the back, but ultimately not under a huge amount of pressure, and passes just not out in front and accurate in these conditions.
Possibly the last opportunity of the first half for Connacht. Ulster have defended steadfastly, and they just keep it going for this final phase of the first half. Quick ball taken off and intercepted, half intercepted by McCloskey. Original knock-on, advantage being played. O'Leary, he saw the gap, he has support from Rob. Stopped 5 metres short. Now this might be a game changer if Connacht can get in for the try. Connolly's there. Possession is for Buckley, and the number 8's McKeown. Cooney looking at the options, going himself. Brown the second row. No, they're just 2-3 metres short. Can Ulster hold out? Can Connacht get over the line? It's bounced out, and penalty to Connacht, offside. And what does the captain want? Ulster living on their nerves, their fans biting their nails.
Yeah, not enough time to kick for touch, so going to have to take the kick on this occasion. Another opportunity to get 3 points. Ulster just straying offside. High penalty account plaguing both teams, and you ally that with a set piece that hasn't functioned, a line out that hasn't functioned particularly well for Connacht, the number of handling errors from both teams, and while it's been entertaining, it hasn't been clinical stuff, and Ulster will be pretty thankful to have scored their try and got that 11-0 margin.
We weren't expecting an extravaganza of running rugby, were we, Ron?
Certainly weren't half an hour before kickoff when the rain was coming, but as conditions dried, and both teams like to play that high-tempo game with a lot of width, we were certainly hoping we might see some of it, but it's been the handling errors that have just robbed us of that.
Shane O'Leary's had his sighter. He's struck an upright. Can he send Connacht in 8 points behind at the break? Not the cleanest of contact, but good enough. And Shane O'Leary, on his first league start, puts over Connacht's first points of this game. And Ulster hold an 8-point lead. Ryan Constable.
Yeah, pretty impressed with Ulster's defensive efforts in that first 20 minutes. Great line speed, really making high-impact collisions, and had enough composure to get some points on the board. Both coaches will be pretty disappointed with the high penalty count and the number of handling errors that are being given away by both sides.
And possibly 1 point that might come into play in the next hour or so. Ulster have more experience on the bench and possibly more impact players on the bench.
Yeah, and they'll look to bring those on. Normally around that 55-minute mark we tend to see the introduction, and hopefully they'll have a positive impact on the game.
So at half-time, slippery surface at the Kingspan Stadium. Ulster scored the only try and they lead Connacht by 11 points to 3.
Stephen Ferris and Paddy Wallace have been enjoying a very entertaining first 40 minutes, enjoyed here at the Kingspan Stadium by over 16,000 people. I hope you've been enjoying the game as well. It's been lively. It's
flown by. The first 40 minutes just flew by there. Great, great play by both teams. I think Connacht have probably had more attacking ball in the first half, but Ulster have had great defence. They're getting up, their line speed's good, they're making impact tackles, choking when they need to, and it's all round, it's a good performance, and we've got a 11-3 lead, so happy days.
Are Ulster deserved leaders at the break, do you think, Paddy?
Well, they've been clinical. They took their try very well, a decision that you were calling for posts, screaming for posts.
You were screaming.
And we were glad that they went to the corner, and they were clinical enough to get over for the try. Both teams are playing with a lot of tempo and a lot of pace, regardless of the conditions. There's a slippy ball out there and slippy underfoot, but they're here to play. Connacht are here to play. They're full of confidence, and as Ryan mentioned in his commentary, I think around about 60 minutes. Connacht have had a big match last week against Leinster, came off a big high, a big win. Their legs will be starting to tire around 60 minutes, and I think that's where Ulster need to maintain what they're doing, and hopefully more gaps, more opportunities will appear around that 60-minute mark.
Yeah, as you say, Connacht on a 6-day turnaround. Ulster kicked 2 early Paddy Jackson penalties, but turned down the third one, as you say, went for the corner, and it paid off.
Well, it was the right decision in the end. They've decided to kick the corner over the last number of weeks, and it hasn't been the right decision. But Rory Best being on the pitch, he puts that's pretty impressive to throw it 17 metres. The boys pile in. You see Stuart McCluskey, 110 kilos in there. Andrew Trimble joins it at the end as well. And it's really well set. But once they get the momentum, they keep it going. Never does this stop. They're working so hard to keep it up off the ground. You have no idea how hard those guys at the front are working. And it's a great team try. Luke Marshall coming in there at the end. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it was plenty of movement right from the start of the maul. You can see the back swept round to the blind side, which then held some of the Connacht forwards to mark that on the blind side, which meant Ulster could get that immediate momentum from the maul, and they were able to push it over from 10-15 metres out. It was very impressive.
And it really laid down a marker. The captain called it, and the captain finished it.
Yeah, it's great to see Rory Best on the scoreboard. I didn't realise it was his first try for Ulster this season, and hopefully he gets a few more over the next few weeks.
The Ulster defence tonight, what have you made of that?
Yeah, well, they started off, they didn't really get their line speed up. You can see they just get beaten here on the outside. Andrew Trimble sort of gets half beaten, and then Jared almost hits in, and they get a 2-on-1, a half line break. But Connacht didn't capitalise through this, but they soon sorted out, and they get their line speed up and start to make big collisions.
Yeah, the Ulster defence really improved, and it helped at the break. It helped turn the ball over a number of times.
Yeah, and they are getting off the line whenever they're in phase play. Whenever they get that choke tackle, slow the ball up at ruck time, they can really get off the line, and they're causing Connacht problems, as you see here. Get off the line, put them under pressure, ball is spilled. It's very hard to play in these conditions whenever you've got defenders right up in your face, and Ulster have benefited from that on a couple of occasions here.
In previous weeks, you've suggested that Ulster have been a little passive in their defence, but tonight much more aggression. Agree?
It's like night and day. You know, these one-off runners are getting absolutely smashed. Connacht tried to play out of their own 22, and Roger Wilson and Peter Brown absolutely smashed the guy, turned him over. We got a penalty, and the next thing we're 6-0 up.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to do. You've got to lay the line, and that's been missing over the last number of weeks. And you know, it's been brilliant so far.
And even when they missed a tackle there, Paddy Jackson came in with a really good crunching one to finish it off.
He did indeed.
Yeah.
He's playing well, Paddy.
The breakdown has been problematic for Ulster, especially last week. They were heavily penalised by the referee. Tonight again, some difficulties in that area,
Similar
Paddy.
as well, and there were repeat offences as well, and you've got to learn early what the referee is doing, how he's refereeing that breakdown. Twice Ricky Lutton's been penalised for coming in from the side of the ruck. You've got to come through the gate. It's obvious that he's going to penalise that every time, and there again, Ulster are guilty of that.
And to be honest, they could have got penalised a couple more times as well in their own 22, coming in at the side. Just because the ball's sitting at the back of the ruck, it doesn't mean it's out. You can't just come in from the side and start flailing boots straight at it. You know, you've got to be smart, and you know, hopefully they'll learn a bit come the second half.
Ruan Pienaar showing his disappointment with that particular decision. Jared Payne back into the starting lineup for Ulster tonight. He's a Rolls Royce, isn't he?
He's been great. Yeah, only one mistake where, you know, a pass went slightly behind him, but yeah, he's a class act. He's a class player. Many would like to see him stay with that 15 jersey on his back. Will Joe Smith keep him in the 13 jersey? I'm not so sure, but I think he can play him anywhere in the back line. He is that good, and it's great to see him distribute the ball like that. And when the boys are going forward, there's no better man to have in the middle of the park.
And this was very unfortunate here, because a great chip forward could have led to an Ulster try, but eventually they were penalised, the breakdown. But Payne involved all over the park, Paddy.
No, Jared's a class act, and as Stephen says, you could play him anywhere in the back line. Unfortunate here, the ball was just behind him. It was an opportunity to make some serious yards on the outside. Jared organises very well. You know, he does a lot of things with ball in hand, but he also organises the attack that Ulster, you know, all the good attack that Ulster provide. Jared's right at the heart of that, and you can see his desperation there, which has been lacking in the last few weeks. His desperation to get back and make a tackle, make a try-saving tackle there, which you know, could come in very handy at the end of this match.
Yeah, good in attack and good in defence. Okay, let's go pitch side and join Gavin Andrews.
Stephen, thank you. Alongside me, Ulster and Ireland's second row, Dan Toohey. Dan, first of all, bad ankle, how's the injury?
Yeah, it's coming on good. I had surgery 2.5 weeks ago, and it feels good and feels nice and strong, so I'm very positive about it.
Long pre-season then for you, looking ahead next year already?
Yeah, I had 3 months out from December until about March, then had a surgery, and now I've got another 3 months until I'm off, and it's going to be a tough slog, but hopefully by August, September, I'll be back on my feet, and all things going well, we'll be involved in the pre-season games.
How are you going to find being on the sidelines watching this run-in?
It isn't easy. You know, it's very, very tight for us now. We need to win every single game, so I'd be desperate to get on the pitch and help the boys out, you know. Initial thought was I was going to be back last week against Glasgow, so having not been available for that game, it's been tough, but I think the boys are more than capable of getting 4 wins from 4. It's just now talking is cheap, just got to get out and get it done.
What have you made of the first half?
Yeah, I thought we played positive rugby. It's good to see the backs getting in there for helping us out with that Mull try at the end. But I think if we capitalise on a few more chances in that 22, I think Andy Warwick's been teaching Ruan Pienaar how to kick over the last week. But I think if we get out 22 and get our game going, there's no reason why we can't score 3 tries in the second half and take this game and hopefully get the bonus point.
How important has it been to have the Irish internationals back?
Yeah, they've been a huge asset to us this week. You know, it's been tough the last couple of weeks. The guys have been, you know, dragging their heels, especially playing so well against Glasgow and not getting the results. So to have the 3 boys come in this week has really lifted the group. And obviously Rory being club captain, he's an immensely good leader, and you can see that with his performance tonight. And it drives standards around the place. And you know, the 3 top players.
What have you made of Connacht tonight and this season? Probably one of the surprise stories, or one of the big stories of European rugby almost.
Yeah, we always know how hard they are to beat at home, but I think that would be doing them a little bit of disservice, really. They're an incredibly abrasive side, and they really work hard for each other. I think if we can stretch them there this evening, they've got a long injury list, and they certainly look a little bit quiche this evening. If we can stretch them and get them blowing, we can hopefully score some tries in the second half.
Are Ulster going to go on and win this?
Yeah, I hope so. We're an 8-point lead at the moment. Keep hold of the ball. The set piece is looking good. They're struggling a little bit at line-out time, Connacht. So if we have to win it by scoring 4 more tries, then so be it.
Very quickly, will Ulster make the playoffs?
Yes, by the skin of their teeth, hopefully.
I like it. Get well soon.
Cheers.
Cheers, big man.
Confidence from the injured down to also on the injury list at the moment is Nick Williams. He joined us in the Ulster Rugby Extra studio this week, and you can still watch that programme online on the BBC Sports website. Do you share his confidence?
I do. I think everybody's got to be positive about Ulster. The Irish lads are back in. It's easy to look at the last 3 or 4 months and see that we haven't been performing well. And yes, we haven't been getting the results. But let's get behind the lads. You know, let's show them some support instead of writing them off. They're not out of this yet, so let's everybody get behind them.
He mentioned the set piece. Is that an area you think that Ulster will try and target second half, Paddy? Because the Connacht line-out hasn't functioned all that well.
No, it has. It's been struggling a bit, and Ulster are getting parity at scrum time. Penalties are going either way. I think yes, obviously set piece is crucial in rugby. You have to win your own set piece, but I think they need to play with that element of tempo that they brought to the start of the game, continue that on, and as I say, I think Connacht will tire come the last 20 minutes, and as you can see, the likes of Stuart Olding, Darren Cape, Paul Marshall even coming off the bench to inject a bit of pace. Loads of opportunities hopefully will present themselves.
But this has been a pretty good Connacht performance by an under-strength Connacht team. They've got a big injury list, and they have had a phenomenal season. And one of the things that they certainly have in abundance is confidence, and they're going to be very dangerous second half.
Do you know what else they have? They have heart. They know they're not going to lie down here. Even if they go another 3 points down, they will not lie down. They'll keep coming back and coming harder and harder. And you know, Ulster just need to keep building their score. You know, if 3 points come up for grabs here, take a 3 points and keep building, and hopefully the floodgates will open, as Paddy alluded to there, in the last 20 minutes. Fingers crossed.
And it's about Ulster trying to take their chances as they did in the first half and continue that really good defence.
Continue, play with tempo. Whenever they get the chances, be clinical. Don't force passes, especially with the slippy ball out there. Earn your scores, work hard for them, and rely on your defence as well. The defence has been good so far. Keep that line speed, coming off the line, putting Connacht under pressure.
OK, Paddy, Stephen, thank you very much indeed. Just before we hand back to our commentary team, a big mention tonight to one of Ulster Rugby's big supporters, young supporters, Jamie Donaldson, who's been in hospital for quite a long time, but he watches the matches every week online. So get well soon to Jamie. I hope you're enjoying the game tonight. And it's now back to our commentary team, Rand Constable and Michael McNamee.
And these are the fellas who'll be trying to get a victory for Jamie and all the other Ulster fans who want to see this season finishing with something substantial to play for. And there's the man who got the try. And there are the fans who enjoyed the try and wouldn't mind seeing maybe 2 or 3 more in the second half, Rand Constable.
Yeah, 3, I guess, is the target for Ulster in the second half. But first and foremost, they need to subdue this Connacht team, which, as the boys in studio said, won't lie down. They've been full of spirit all season, and expect them to show another spirited performance in this second half.
Paddy Jackson gets us underway in the second half. Rory Best among the players with a nice fresh white jersey, standing out there at the bottom of your picture. No changes to either side. Immediately Bundyaki, big centre in the thick of things for Connacht. What do you think Pat Lam had to say at half-time, Ryan?
Be about application and accuracy. They know their patterns, they're performing them well. Just cut out the individual errors, the suspect passes, of which they're demonstrating now, and continue to do what they've done all season.
And the first mistake of the second half made by Connacht. So wayward ball and knocked forward, I think, by Matt Healy. He's got a suspiciously clean jersey himself.
Yeah, one of those basic principles of rugby: don't pass the ball to someone in a worse position than what you are, and that advice could certainly be heeded on occasions like this. Nothing wrong with going into contact on your terms, recycling the ball and living to fight another day.
Referee Dudley Phillips has kept a close eye on the front row tussle. Steady from Ulster. Possession for Pienaar. Jackson. Marshall provides the missed man. McCloskey inside the 22. Pienaar. Marshall. Trimble. And Ulster take it on with Peter Brown. Payne nearly found the gap. Jackson. In. And Ulster have it again with Pienaar. Jackson. Support from McCloskey. Good start to the second half by Ulster. That's on from Ricky Lutton. Jackson. Our men over here. Trimble. Marshall. 4 meters short. And a groan reverberates around the Kingspan Stadium as Peter Brown is penalised.
Very unusual for that number of offensive ruck penalties to be given away, but clearly feeling that there was some sealing off going on that occasion. Ulster on a huge roll, multiple phases, just getting to the point where it felt like the Connacht defence was going to crack, and accusing Ulster player of going off his feet.
We're back in play with Ulster in possession. Brown has been certainly one of the most impressive Ulster performers in the pack. He made the break. Jackson. Ulster sense that perhaps a second try is there for the taking. Connacht haven't really got out of the blocks in the second half. Opportunity. Payne half through, and the try for Gilroy. Start of the second half. Ulster have looked bright, sharp, lively, and Craig Gilroy gets the second try of the game.
Again, it's those performance of the basics at pace with accuracy, and that's what Ulster have done particularly well at the start of this second half. As they go through multiple phases, they build the pressure, managing to stay up on the feet and then breaking through. You then have a Connacht defence that is retreating, and they're trying to realign and get the numbers lined up, and you get small overlaps, and then very clever play here by Jackson drawing the defence wide, but it's that final offload from Jared Payne, the class to be able to get that away under pressure, falling to ground, but seeing the space outside, and Gilroy goes over.
Fantastic offload, great finish. And it's all Ulster at the start of this second half. Two successful, one off the metalwork. And a successful conversion would open up a 15-point lead. You can always tell because the fans roar whether it's over or not. 18 points to 3, and suddenly the mission now is bonus point territory.
Yeah, you get to a 15-point margin, you're clearly in front. Again, we see that composure in the offload, and Ulster now with a 15-point margin certainly need to maintain the discipline they showed by going through those multiple phases and eventually creating that numerical advantage and executing particularly well to get that try.
Oh dear. Well, Ulster, just when everything was going so well, make a mistake and give away the ball. What can Connacht fashion now? Here's Henshaw once again. They're bringing him in at every opportunity. Dancing feet of Matt Healy. Many claims that he should be in the Ireland squad. Joe Schmidt, of course, watching this evening. They've brought on Finlay Bealham in the front row. So Bealham, the first replacement, and Connacht have lost possession, and McCloskey kicks away. So the two recent Irish internationals, Bealham and Delan, are on for Connacht as they try and revive their performance. And one of their key men, Adio Loken's down. Play continues with Connacht effectively playing with 14 men. Ayew and Muldowney the men to make way. What a crunching tackle by McCloskey. Cooney, O'Leary, Andy O'Logan's back on his feet. Henshaw, this is good, they've men over here. Pass from Beelum. And Connacht are far from beaten, they're not lying down. And that's on by Andrew Brown. Missing out the captain. Aki couldn't find Muldoon. And the referee might yet penalise an Ulsterman. Slight disagreement between Rob and Aki and Trimble.
Winger. Deliberate slap down.
Deliberate slap down and a card for Andrew Trimble.
There's no necessity. Why is he getting involved?
And Connacht did particularly well to manufacture that overlap, and Andrew Trimble felt no other option but to try and slap that ball down to prevent them scoring a try. And Bundy Aki taking exception to that once the referee had adjudicated the penalty.
Your 13 needs to calm down, Captain. No, I'd like you to do it now on the way. Thank you.
Bundy Aki being, well, the captain being informed that their 13 Bundy Aki has to calm it. There is Aki, and there's the slap by Trimble. And Matt Healy and Muldoon were waiting for that ball with a clear run to the line. 10 minutes in the bin for Trimble. So that twists the kaleidoscope of this game again. McCartney, tidy possession for Connacht. Connolly looking for it at the back of all that. Cooney urging his men forward. Good defence from Ulster. Cooney finds Delan. That's on by McKeown. First time tackling good from Ulster. O'Leary. Healy's in on the line. Now it's Henshaw's got the man over. Henshaw elects to go himself. As the momentum be lost, there's the ball, snaffled by Marshall. Connacht have missed their opportunity for the moment. Perhaps Henshaw should have given the pass. Maybe he was aware that Eddie O'Logan had taken a knock. Play on, says the referee, and the ball is there. And Ulster in danger of losing this, and they've lost it.
Well, the referee calling hands were on, and that gave licence to the Connacht players to come around, claiming the ball was out and hands were on it. And again, it's that area of the breakdown that's causing concern.
Stop.
Well, Connacht are going to fight and scrap and battle to avoid their first defeat since January.
There was some excellent desperation in defence from Ulster that hasn't always been there in the last month, but is certainly evident this evening. This is where referee calls that the ball is out and hands are on the ball, and that gives them the licence to come around. Questionable.
Bundy Aki's contribution not appreciated by the home fans watching it on the big screen. They thought that should have been an Ulster penalty. Remember, Connacht have a man advantage. Cooney's making absolutely sure that O'Leary knows what's going on.
Too messy, okay? Everybody's coming down too late, and we're set before I've called it.
Key period now for Connacht. Can they make that advantage with Andrew Trimble in the bin? Can they make it pay? Referee Phillips has had enough from Ulster. Awards the free kick. On by McKeown. O'Leary. Miss out. Henshaw. Miss out Healy. And into touch, and another burst of bad feeling breaks out in the middle of the Ulster 22. Tempers flaring, Ryan Constable.
Yeah, feisty one. It is a derby game, first v fifth as well, and probably the first mistake O'Leary's really made. He's had a very composed game and just trying to fire that one out into the wider channels and a little bit too far, but I think he's handled the pressure pretty well of this performance.
Last time.
It's scrappy possession. Best has to retrieve it for Ulster. His boot is about to be applied. And taken by Henshaw. Little skip from the Irish international. And caught by Peter Brown. Cooney. O'Leary had to just pause fractionally to take it. Misses out McCartney. Opportunity for Connolly on the far side. Connacht's best period of the game. Brown, quick hands. Beelan. Nearly away. Good tackle by Black. O'Leary. Sensed maybe there was a gap there, and it closed in front of him. Cooney. Aki gets it out. Still Ulster hold on. 15 men against 14. Still they come, the men in green and blue. Set up by Andrew Brown. O'Leary. Henshaw to Healy. The lands there, popped up for the number 8 McKeown, and forced out of play. And at the moment, Ulster are answering the questions that Connacht are posing.
Yeah, some desperation in defence, and down to 14 men. They've equipped themselves particularly well to cover with that threat. Connacht really using the width, and a couple of little passes not going their way, or a switch pass that should have been given that wasn't, and just a few little things. Healy getting on the outside, trying to preserve that space, but Paddy Jackson up to the challenge.
Double Ulster substitution and a replacement coming on for Connacht as well. Cal McCall coming on. And Sean Reedy as well. So change in the front row, change in the back row. And Connacht have changed their scrum half. Caelan Blade is on. Taken at the back by Ulster. So Reedy and McCall are on for the remainder of this match. High one again, I think targeting Healy, and he's dropped it. Away by Blade. Aki. O'Leary. Bundy Aki. Brown. There's the man just on Blade. Healy now. They've men over. Muldoon. Got support from McKeown. This is good. And it's going to be a try for the man just on the pitch. It's the replacement scrum half, Blade, with it. He's taken a blow, but he's got the touchdown.
Yeah, that's come from the same way that Connacht have been trying to play this whole game, and done particularly well all season. They do these second man plays from left to right, and eventually the Ulster defence gets a little bit narrow, down one man in defence as well, and that creates that overlap, and then some clever switching to finish that off. They've been trying to implement that throughout the whole of this game. Ulster's defence has been up to it, but just too much width. As they take it to the line, players get committed, it goes in behind, and just too much space on the outside. Players retreating, trying to make decisions as they go back, and a very clever little offload, 2 passages there. Desperate defence coming in, but unable to deny the try.
And 23 is Danny Pullman, who's also on, the Pretoria-born centre. He thought he might have got the scoring pass. Instead, it went to Caelan Blade. Cutting Blade indeed. Can O'Leary add the 2 points? Yes, he can. And with just under 25 minutes left to play, Ulster 18, Connacht 10.
And a wonderful finish. Balls out in front. Players are taking good lines, making good decisions when to pass, and eventually just running out of numbers. And this is the way Connacht have played throughout the season. High tempo, running at pace from depth, and an excellent try. Stephen Ferris said it at half-time. this Connacht team won't lie down, and they're certainly not doing that. They're back to within 8.
I'd forgotten about the second half array of replacements who sort of sneak on without even noticing. So Pullman's on, Blade is on, Delan is on, and Beelam's on. Those are the switches for Connacht. And McCall and Sean Reedy as Connacht show some enterprise once again inside their own 22. Henshaw's been caught though. Sean Reedy, you can tell he's the man just on with his nice crisp white shirt, and this is good for Ulster. They're penalised once more. To the displeasure of most of the fans here at the Kingspan Stadium. That's Ian Henderson.
And also be disappointed with such a dominant tackle, not to get more out of it than that, and it's Connacht with an opportunity to once again get possession.
No problem competing, because your 3 players came around the side on that one, okay? Stay aside.
And Andrew Trimble just getting ready. You can see him on the touchline, about to be reintroduced to this game, and Ulster back up to the full complement.
Biggest roll of the night, possibly the return of Trimble. And that's Robbie Dyack on for Peter Brown. Aki. So 8 points the difference. Play on, says the referee. Reedy's there. Ulster scrabbling about. Skipper couldn't put his fist on it. And the original lock on from a Connacht player. And Ulster have a scrummage in a very useful attacking position.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see which way they split their forces either side of this scrum. Big enough blindside to potentially do something there. And mustn't forget that Connacht at 8 points, they'll be looking to come away with something at least. The game's not beyond them with 22 odd minutes to go, but in the back of their mind, they'll feel if they can leave with any points, it'll certainly further their ambition for that top 4 spot.
All 3 possible results still possible here at the Kingspan Stadium. She's travelled a fair way and is enjoying her evening at Belfast. Enjoy it even more if Connacht could fight their way back. Ulster's home defeats have been by the tightest of tight margins, 2 points and 1 point. What can they do here? The scrum is all over the place and Connacht have stolen it. This is Blade, the try scorer. Suddenly Ulster at 6s and 7s in the tight. And the opportunity's gone.
That'll be disappointing with a scrum in that position not to get an opportunity to attack from there.
I can hear my brother shouting at the television, Ryan. He gets very worked up.
Where you are now.
The towel's been applied. The word from Kyle McCall has been put in the ear of the captain. And it's tapped back by Ian Henderson. McCloskey. Pienaar. Henderson to Marshall. Driven on by Roger Wilson. There's McCall. Quick ball for Pienaar. Jackson saw the gap and tried to bisect the space between Henshaw and Healy. Henshaw had plenty of time, and that's a terrific kick. Quickly taken. Pienaar to Trimble. To Payne. It's opening up now. The teams are tiring. Henshaw backpedaling. I don't think that's going to... Well, it is going to make it on the halfway line. Jackson pondered the quick restart, but I think both sets of players will be quite happy for a 15-second break. It's high-tempo stuff, Ryan.
Yeah, it is so much at stake for both teams, and a little bit of a breeze developing behind Ulster's backs now. Ruan Pienaar's been back to his best form, particularly in those box kicks, getting those chases and applying some pressure. And Ulster now looking for an opportunity after being down to 14 men to spend some time with ball in hand in opposition territory.
Into the last quarter of the game. Henderson. Half tidied up on the floor by Van der Merwe, but this is Reedy. Pienaar to McCloskey. Marshall. Oh! Crunching tackle. O'Leary involved. Pienaar. Jackson. Payne. Try scorer Gilroy. A couple of metres short of the 22. Jackson. That's fine. Eventually finds the hands of Kyle McCall. Ulster down to 14. There's a player receiving treatment. McCloskey. Pienaar. Narrow side. Payne. Payne's got support from Reedy and also from Dyack. Concern being shown for the Ulster man down, but play continues with Lutton and McCall setting up possession for Pienaar. Sean Reedy in such fine try-scoring form earlier in the season. Somebody has to go in and act at scrum half, and that man is Roger Wilson. McCloskey. Pienaar looks at the options. Dyack. They've come so close to the line. Sloppy possession, scooped up into the hands of Wilson, and then Lutton and Reedy. Pienaar, is there a gap there? Is the ball there? And Ulster have the penalty. Man down though.
And Luke Marshall, who took a big hit in the midfield, and just seeing the end of this, and again just that little handling error. And I think we'll have some time out here as we see that crunch in the midfield. Big tackle that Luke Marshall received, and we'll have a break in play now while the necessary precautions are taken to ensure that
well, if there's ever a sight that an Ulster or an Ireland fan didn't want to see, it's Luke Marshall lying on the ground with his head being held.
And sitting up now, which is always a good sign, and just taking the precaution that they needed to and the time they needed to. There was a big collision in the midfield. Again, the line out not functioning perfectly, but maintaining possession, and really adding a bit of impetus to that by getting that ball on the front foot.
And Darren Cave, there's the challenge. A double hit on Marshall. And Sean O'Brien is replacing James Connolly in the back row for Connacht.
Yet again, Jarrod playing that little half hitch, and then on the outside, Gilroy very difficult to bring down, and Ulster, when they get into that rhythm and get the ball on the front foot, making those little line breaks, recycling the ball quickly, very difficult to contain.
Confirmation, Darren Cave replacing Luke Marshall. Just over a quarter of an hour left to play. That was a distinctive red hair of Sean O'Brien. This was the other Sean O'Brien. Tidy possession in the middle of the line out. Ulster fans want something to happen in the next minute or so. Pienaar urging the back row to get there. McCloskey. Pienaar looks both ways, on by Rory Best. Might go the narrow side. McCloskey's there. Cave and the bright white number 23.
Tackle away, Green!
Connacht being urged to get their hands away. Roger Wilson. Ulster keep battering and battering. Is there a way through? And Connacht penalised. And suddenly the momentum has swung back in this game, back to the white shirts of Ulster.
And expect a warning to come now for Connacht, and that may be what Ulster need to maintain possession and territory by kicking this one to touch, and if there's too many more infringements, someone may see the yellow card.
He's just having a word with his players, if you wouldn't mind. Time on.
So I can hear Stephen Watson probably shouting in the presentation box for the kick to goal, but they've gone for the corner again. The last time they went for the corner, they got a try.
It's important that they get another try pretty soon to go to 3. I think Ulster aware that even 4 wins may not be enough. It's going to come down to bonus points, and if Ulster can score here, they'll feel they'll put themselves in a position to go for that 4th.
Key passage of play for Ulster. Can they rumble over again? Andrew Trimble adding his strength. Here they go again. Ricky Lutton in there. Urged forward. McCloskey there as well. It's not pretty, but it might be effective from the captain! He's over to get the ball down! They're going to have a look. The Ulster players convinced their captain's got over for his 2nd and the team's 3rd try of the evening. Those are the scars of battle.
Yes or no? We're checking now.
Well, the ferocity that Best came around that corner, it's going to take something pretty special to have stopped him. He dipped the shoulder as he came around the corner, and as he was sort of slung out the back of that, he put the head down and wasn't going to be denied. And it's just whether he can get that ball grounded. Difficult to see from that angle. Not a sight you want to see as a winger trying to defend your line, but Matt Healy put his body on the line, and it's just whether as he's rolling over you can get that ball to ground.
TMO is
from the
Brian
angles that we've seen
McNeice.
so far, Brian, the ball appears to be held up at all times.
Yes, I agree so far.
Well, I don't think you can see at any stage the ball being grounded.
We're just checking to see if we have any other angles.
Thank you.
Pienaar off, and Paul Marshall replaces him at scrum half.
One more angle coming up, Dudley.
Okay.
Well, Matt Healy will never be accused of having a glass jaw as Best came around the corner. He took one fair and square. He managed to hold on, and Buckley coming over the top may have just prevented that ball getting to ground.
Okay, Brian, is that the only angle? That's the last angle?
That is the last angle.
Okay. How I viewed it is I haven't seen the ball being grounded. Would you agree?
Yes, I agree.
So I held up scrum 5.
Correct.
Held up.
That last little angle showed a little suspicion that it may have touched some of the grass, but certainly feel that they've seen enough, and Rory Best will go for a head injury assessment. No surprise after watching that replay.
Not much I can do here.
Well, that almost try from Rory Best, his last contribution this evening. He's been replaced by his very able deputy, Rob Herring.
Standards of the scrummaging up.
Who I assume would take the captain's armband. So Paul Marshall on.
Just to the left. Come on! Yeah, first put in.
Rory Best, a try-scoring return to colours with Ulster.
Crouch! Fine! Set! Ready!
Ulster scrummage, some difficulties, but Connacht have been penalised.
One straight across.
Dennis Buckley, the transgressor.
Again, just accusing of scrummaging on the angle and pincering in there. Ulster likely to kick for touch again. They haven't. They got there with the driving maul in the first half. They'll be looking to do the same again. Connacht have defended particularly well in this second half from that driving maul, but 5 metres out, Ulster will feel that they're within range.
Jackson's popped it into the corner. First throw for Herring. Taken by Van der Merwe. Might this be a repeat of Best's try in the first half? Maybe slightly closer in starting position. Paul Marshall urging the angle of attack. Trimble adding his strength. They're rumbling. They've been held up short. Now can they rip that ball free and do something with it? No.
It's interesting to see the way Connacht defend those driving mauls. They get the players around the side and they get hold, and then they sort of like turning the steers on a bull and just turn them around the corner, and that takes the momentum out of it, and they have players piling in again, and they've done it particularly well in this second half.
Is it collapse small? Turnover.
It's a former Ulster Academy player, Finlay Bealham, receiving treatment.
John Muldoon showing all his experience, having that discussion with the referee when there's a break in play to ensure that his point is made, that the referee's looking for things that he's seeing the opposition doing.
Listening to the officials' microphones and education in itself. Defensive scrummage from Connacht. Full-time score. Ospreys winning the derby by 26 points to 20. Edinburgh well ahead of Zebri. That game kicked off at the same time as this one. It was a 7:05 kickoff in Wales.
Important for Ulster, given the amount of time they've had in Connacht's 22, the number of set pieces they've had, both scrum and line out, that they get something out of this. They've stated their intention. It's to get a try, not 3 points, and struggling now given that it's Connacht's put in.
Loose head, go straight.
Ulster penalised in the front row.
Too much, no, hang on a second. It's not just you, there's everyone else, all right?
Kyle McCall,
okay,
the man,
spread the word to your team, please.
fingered by the referee. Shane O'Leary's feeling the pace. And there's no obvious replacement at 10 for Connacht. That's the trouble with all their injuries that they've had.
Well, Robbie Henshaw, being the footballer that he is, he's run a few times there in training this week apparently, and he's probably the next logical replacement to step up.
Overcooked by the hooker. Marshall went back to the referee. Jackson. McCloskey. Henderson.
Tackle move! Good, he's good.
Marshall. Roger Wilson. Marshall. Payne. Misses out Cave. This is Gilroy. For a second there was a gap there. Was it? Well, the Ulster fans not happy with the way Gilroy was brought down, but play continues with Marshall. Finds Jackson. Cal McCall. There once again for Marshall. Jackson. Plenty of Ulster bodies on the far side. Trimble. Taking it into contact. Advantage Ulster and penalty Ulster.
You'd think a yellow card is potentially going to be brandished. Given the warning, he's going to go and have a look to see what the infringement was.
Put it up for you now.
If he finds the player to be guilty, he could well be seeing yellow.
Here it is, Dudley.
There's Gilroy. That's high from O'Leary.
Yeah, no question. Not a huge amount of intent, and that gets caught backpedaling, but the arm does come up. Probably a bit of fatigue in the decision-making there as Trimble steps on the inside and just slips up there around the neck, and technically it is high.
Okay.
So we might yet see Robbie Henshaw getting a run at that half.
Yes, that's all the angles.
Okay, so it's a high tackle by Green 10.
Correct.
And the mark is around where Nigel is, just outside the 22?
Yes.
Okay. Because of the number of penalties and the warning that I've given them, I'm going to issue a yellow card for this. 10.
Okay.
So O'Leary will be binned, and he's made his last contribution to this match in O'Leary.
I think he's had a pretty decent game. We'll listen to the referee.
So it's not for the actual infringement, but for the number of penalties.
Cumulative.
Yeah, he'll feel pretty hard done by that. The incident in isolation wouldn't have warranted a yellow, but given the warnings about discipline and persistent infringement in the 22 area, he's felt that the yellow card is deserved, and expect Ulster to kick the touch now and try and get those 2 tries in the 10 minutes that's left.
Connacht preparing another couple of changes in the front row. Dave Heffernan and Ronan Loughney preparing to come on.
Time off. 1 and 2.
And they will make those changes now.
Let's make sure the ball carrier is tackleable at all times. Sorry? Make sure the ball carrier is tackleable at all times on this lineup. Okay. No obstruction. Yeah. Yes?
Dave Heffernan in at hooker. And the experienced Ronan Loughney
okay. HIA
into the
reversal.
front row as well.
Time is still off, guys. Relax.
Best back.
Yeah,
Blood injury.
head injury assessment reversal. He's passed it. He's circled all the right circles and dotted all the right dots, and he's back. Also be pretty happy to see him back on the field of play and no long-term repercussions from that head collision.
Apologies to the Ulster captain. I had him making a premature departure from this game. Can Ulster get a third try with Connacht down to 14 men? On by Reedy. Marshall. Oh, that looked a bit deliberate from Delan. And he could be the next one. Heading to the bin.
Paul Marshall may have used all of his experience on that one as well, but despite the flow of penalties, that elusive try still hasn't come, despite how long. And the crowd shouting as Ulster have a player out on the far left who's unmarked, difficult to make out from here. Craig Gilroy, I think it was, signalling he would have liked a cross-field kick, but persistent infringements again, but no tries against Connacht.
Connacht stay with 14 men on the pitch. Feels like it'll be down in this bottom corner for the last 10 minutes.
It's just that desperate Connacht defence, and there's the pass there, making the most of that Paul Marshall, and penalty ensuing, but 3 points probably not what Ulster need. Connacht will be trying to get out of here and get their own points to get within 6 for that point.
6 metres short. The clock is ticking in Ulster. A man advantage. Best is at the back again. Will they go again, or will Marshall whip the ball out? Marshall scoops it over the top to Jackson. That's a high hanging one. Payne is trying to get in the end of that. Jared Payne can't make the catch, and Ulster have the penalty. Can they eventually batter that Connacht door down and get the third try? Another card. Sean O'Brien. Connacht down to 13.
But still keeping their try line intact. Incredible stuff. Ulster will kick to the corner again for the umpteenth time. The right tactic to do, and eventually Connacht are going to run out of numbers.
Second yellow card in the space of 3 minutes. Look for 20 at the bottom of all that. And we're back in play now with Ulster in possession. 15 against 13. Surely the numbers will have to pay off eventually. Best. Roger Wilson twisting and turning. Marshall nearly through. Somebody left act at scrum half, taken on by Rory Best. 1.5 meters short. 1 meter short of the line.
Use it!
Big men are going to use it. Driven on by Wilson. There's Dyack is about to pick up. Offloads. Marshall pops it up. Henderson was nearly in. Fractions and fractions for Ulster. Right in front of the post now. Marshall will get that ball out. Popped inside. Held up once more. Marshall, surely this has got to be it. Dyack forced back by his opposite number, Delan. Remember, it's 15 against 13. Marshall, Trimble, takes it at pace. It's popped up into Connacht hands. This is an unlikely breakout from the 13 men. Ulster can't get past them. Hoofed up the field by Matt Healy. Darren Cave's the last man back. On his 22. Cave.
Rock!
Well done, Connacht. They just won't give this one up. Ulster have to build again. Marshall into that huge empty space. And finally out of play.
A phenomenal defence from Connacht. We saw it last week when they defended like their lives depended against Leinster to get the result, and down to 13 men. Ulster keep going around the corner trying to eventually run Connacht out of numbers, but they kept getting back to their feet, taking their position in the line, and just incredible spirit being shown once again by Connacht in defence.
Still they kept coming. And in the end it was Matt Healy, of all people. Terrific kick.
It's Robbie Henshaw here, who just gets over the ball, gets his hands to it, gets that crucial steal to relieve the pressure. And then a very clever decision by Matt Healy, running out of space, bangs it down, gets the chase on, and challenge now as the Connacht players get a drink of water. As it's set piece, they're going to come under a huge amount of scrutiny, and Ulster, with time running out, they've got the winning of this game with an 8-point margin. Connacht will be hoping to try and get within, they're within bonus point range. They're just outside of bonus point range, sorry, at the minute. They need to get a 3-pointer to get that elusive point.
Stewart holding on, and Stuart McCloskey off. Heffernan being told to calm things down. McCloskey still making his way off the pitch. Not walking completely smoothly, but Ulster do at least have the weekend off next weekend. Heffernan, reduced line out. Blade. Henshaw acting out half in the absence of the Bind O'Leary. Connacht down to 13. They think they can win this round.
They expect them to keep it quite narrow.
At least maybe get a losing bonus point.
Yeah, you'd think they'll keep this quite narrow in attack.
Now, kick for Trimble to chase. Henshaw's back for Connacht. He's going to run it. He's going to run it. Now can Ulster retrieve possession from this? Now they have done. They've got about 3 men over. And somebody picked that ball up. Oh dear.
Ulster have just been wondering what they need to do to get across this try line. They've thrown everything at it. The pass just bouncing into no man's land, and then interesting to see whether they call this a knock-on from Ulster. Again, that ferocity at the breakdown. Rory Best managing to disrupt it. You get the turnover, and again, it's that desperate defence from Connacht, just putting their bodies on the line, diving all over the place, and they're not going to give it up.
He did. You can have the line-out option.
Bronson Ross on for the remaining moments of this match, replacing Ricky Lutton. Remember, Ulster got up to 18 points 5 minutes into this half. There's nothing on the scoreboard for Ulster since.
Don't come in. Check.
Now can Ulster steal this scrappy ball? A 10 out of 10 to Connacht for innovation and initiative, with 13 men playing the ball inside their own 22. And retaining possession, and slight disagreement. Ian Henderson in the thick of things, and it's all kicked off now. If you didn't know it was a derby match, I think you would know.
Still at
Dayak disagreement with Bundyaki.
You wonder where the Connacht players, or the Ulster players for that matter, have still got the energy to be going into that sort of stuff. They should be out on their feet with the amount of tackles that they've made, and desperately trying to hang on and get down into Ulster territory to get that 3 points. Ulster pushing probably now forlornly for 2 more tries, and referee going to see what initiated that.
Hold on.
It's on the screen now,
Dudley.
Thank you.
It's going to be the change. Right, Ryan Constable, get your judge's hat on.
We'll see something happened initially between Finlay Bealham and Ian Henderson, and
Dayak as well.
I don't think anyone's really throwing anything, so it'll be difficult to see who they're going to pull out and penalise. That's the incident that really sparked it off.
Brian, is that all the angles that you have on that?
Yes, Dudley, that's all the angles.
Okay. For me, I'm just going to speak to both captains, remind them of the obligations here, okay? Captain and captain.
Is there much point reminding them of their obligations with 2.5 minutes left to play.
Oh, I don't need you. No, not you. Yourself, please. Squeeze a bit of space there. Okay, for me, neither of you need to get involved in anything that has just happened. You're very lucky that we didn't see anything that warrants a higher sanction. Be very careful of the name of the game. Okay? Now, Captain, pardon? Right, exactly. Let's finish the game with full compliments, boys. Deal with it as captains, control the players. Should we start with the scrum?
And for
Part of the two fellas who've been
Connacht, read full complement 13.
Time on, Brian. Scrum green.
Jared Payne, the man of the match.
Yeah, that offload was pretty special for that second try. And again, he's shown how accomplished he is, whether he's wearing the 13 or 15 on his back. He contributes. Just very composed, good decision-making on the ball. And Ulster now desperate to breach this Connacht defence, albeit if it's only for one of the two tries they were hoping for in the last 20 minutes.
Rob Herring on. He's on the flank. There's been a rejig there, obviously. Herring on for Henderson. Matt Healy's acting as scrum half.
Come on, no.
Connacht really displayed why they're leading this competition. That spirit they have to keep that try line intact, and it looked like a forlorn cause. Ulster in control of the game, but just not willing to lie down and let those tries be scored against them, and still believing that they can take something out of this game, even when there's less than 2 on the clock.
Rob Herring is indeed on the blind side of that Ulster scrum.
Set.
Healy with a put-in. Here come the 13 men again. Remember, any sort of Connacht score and they've got a losing bonus point. Maybe the opportunity for Ulster to get an additional 2 tries is gone. So suddenly Connacht need to get out of their 22.
Tacklers away. Good.
And the gap nearly found by Pullman. Blade. That's on by Beelum.
18 away. 16.
Blade.
Careful.
Henshaw. Well, they're down to 13 men, and it's almost like rugby league stuff from Connacht at the moment. Blade. Just didn't find his man. Chip over the top by Henshaw. Now, can Marshall do something?
Knock on here by White.
Ulster knock on. And we're very nearly into the period of the game where that score bar turns red. Have Ulster missed their opportunities, Ryan Constable?
They haven't done a lot wrong. They've been in the right parts of the pitch. They've gone through multiple phases. Opposition have infringed. They've been down to yellow cards.
All that dominance, not a point to show for it.
It's just been outstanding Connacht defence and a lack of incision from Ulster to be able to break it down. But the amount of possession and territory they've had, if you look at those statistics, you'd be saying, how did they not score a try? But Connacht have somehow found a way to deny them.
Set.
Yeah, we've now got Caelan Blade acting at number 8. That's why he's not putting the ball in the scrum. Smallest number 8 I think he'll ever play in the Pro 12. They just don't give up, do they? The fellas from Galway. It's not going to be a historic first win at Belfast since November 1960. But with 2 men in the bin, they're still giving it a go. It's Heffernan. Healy. Blade. Henshaw. Aki. That's a wayward pass picked up by Gilroy. Referee already blown it up, and there's the full-time whistle. A victory for Ulster. Connacht's winning run comes to an end. Ulster hop above Munster into 4th place. Munster, of course, small matter, of an Irish derby at the Aviva Stadium tomorrow evening. Sum that one up, please, Ryan Constable.
Well, Ulster back to winning ways. That's first and foremost the most important thing for the men in white. An exhibition in defence and desire from Connacht, which denied them adding an extra bonus point for 4 tries, and a very courageous and credible performance from the men in green, backing up 6 days after a tremendous win against Leinster. But Ulster were very good in patches in this game, and they just couldn't find a way to break down that desperate Connacht defence, but they'll be delighted to have got a win in the bank.
So much dominance, so much territory, so much possession in the final quarter of this game, but they couldn't add to Craig Gilroy's try, Ulster's second try of the game, scored early in the second half. Gilroy with the second try, Rory Best with the first, but will they rue those missed opportunities? Full-time score here at the Kingspan Stadium. Ulster 18, Connacht 10.
Well, it was a bruising encounter and a much-needed win for Ulster, led by the captain, Rory Best, tonight, Stephen.
I think they will rue those chances. You know, I think if they had got that third try, the fourth would have came pretty quickly. But as Ryan Constable said, take your hat off to Connacht. They showed a lot of heart out there. They put their bodies on the line, and you know, I think they'll be disappointed not to get anything out of the match, but at the same time they can be very proud of the efforts that they put in.
Jared Payne, man of the match tonight. Why, Paddy?
Yeah, class act. Just makes correct decisions, one after the other, and obviously lots of credit for that offload and create the Craig Gilroy try. He just does everything right. He makes right decisions. He's strong in defence. He organises an attack. He passes well. He kicks well when needs be. He just has an all-round game, and I thought he was a deserving man of the match today, showing his variation in kicking style there with the chip kick for Andrew Trimble. You know, that's a really, really good skill done at high pace. And then this probably the unseen work, making this try-saving tackle that could, you know, save Ulster the game.
I think the deciding factor, though, for giving Jared Payne the man of the match was that fantastic offload that he put Craig Gilroy in the corner, and you know, that there's just world-class piece of play. We talk about Ireland not offloading enough. Well, that's what happens when you do offload, and Jared's got all the skills, he's got all the tricks in the book, and you know, that was the deciding factor for this one.
Okay, let's hear from the man of the match.
Congratulations. What does that win mean?
It's huge for the boys. We know this sort of next week and all the rest of our games for this year, so to take one this week is good, and we're on to it next week now.
Good to be back in the white shirt.
It is. It's been too long this year. I've had a frustrating year, and it was great to get back out here in the Kingspan and hear the fans yelling. It was awesome.
3 games left. Every game a cup final now.
Yeah, every game's a cup final. It's a word we throw around a lot, but it is. There's no next week from us from here on in.
Can you do it? Is it realistic to make that top 4?
Look, we'll put all our effort into it each week, and if that's good enough, then so be it. If it's not, then that's the case. But we're just going to try front every week and do our best.
Congratulations.
Well, Ulster are up into a playoff spot after that win tonight, but lots of work to do. The Ospreys in Edinburgh, victories for them this evening. There are the remaining fixtures for the teams. Can Ulster still make the playoffs, do you think?
Well, it's a funny one. Like, if we could win all 4 games, or we win all the remainder 3 games and still not qualify, it just depends. You know, we need a couple of results maybe to go our way. We haven't had much luck in, you know, getting across the line recently, so hopefully we'll have a wee bit of luck and we can do it. It's going to be tough.
What do Ulster need to do to secure European qualification? Do you think one more win might do that, Paddy?
I think so, yes. I think obviously you just take one game at a time. Their ambition is to get into the top 4 and get a playoff place. It will be a disappointing season if they only manage to get a European spot, that's for sure. But there's still a lot to play for. As Stephen said, even if we win all our games, it could be still out of our hands. But you can see there from the remaining matches, teams will take points off each other. You know, denying Connacht a bonus point tonight may come back to serve us well, even though we didn't get the bonus point that we wanted.
Don't write them off just yet. Next up is Ulster against Zebra in 2 weeks' time. We're back live for that one. But tonight, Ulster are back on track. They've beaten the league leaders. Bye-bye for now.